When you think of crypto, one thing you normally don't think about is banking and how it might integrate with all of that. We're going to dive a little deeper on that today with Vast Bank. My name is Paul Barron. Welcome back to Tech Path. Joining me is Brad Scrivner, who is the CEO of Vast Bank, and also joining us today is Stephen Tyler, who's the CIO over there. So great to have you guys on the show.
Thanks for having us.
Excellent. So let's kind of jump into the directive of Vast Bank. For some of our viewers, maybe this is the first time they've heard this story. We've talked about you guys on the show before a little bit about, but you're one of the first banks that has really pulled up to the crypto couch and come in full steam. Brad, let's just jump into it a little bit with you on what was the big decision factor for a regular traditional finance house, what we call traditional finance, to really kind of go into the space of cryptocurrency.
Yeah, well, again, thanks for having us on the show. And, for us, that's a multi-layered answer. You've got to be positioned to be able to make a decision from 2020, right, when Brian Brooks of the OCC stated that crypto custody was within what a national bank could do, right? So coming up to that, we were seeing customer preferences changing. We were seeing rapid technological changes, regulatory changes. You see new competitors coming into the space. And so, we're family owned, 39 years. The family doesn't want to sell the bank. And so we needed to position ourselves in order to be relevant and to remain relevant as customer preferences continued to change. So we started that process in 2016. We made a decision to implement the SAP Banking Services platform, and I'm sure Stephen could talk a little bit more about the tech platform if you're interested in that. In 2018, leading up to the decision in 2020 by the OCC, we had already brought on fintech partners onto that SAP platform, so we were positioned there. And then the decision is made to do that, and we decide to pivot and allocate some resources towards the crypto space. Then in January, we had that first transaction that took place. Fintech partner called Investor launched in the second quarter with securities, crypto, and banking side by side in a seamless manner. And then we had the direct launch August 25th, the public launch that went that. So like I said, lots of decisions, lots of milestones along that decision path there.
And I think going with this so early when I say early, if you were in the 2017 bull run, many of the followers and viewers of our channel, they've kind of experienced that. Few are all the way back to, say, 2013, essentially when Bitcoin's essence really began. 2016 is a fairly early date for you guys to be jumping into that space. Obviously, you had the foresight to kind of see the writing on the wall. When you look at the scenario between 2016 and today, what is the big differences in the landscape that you're trying to prepare for the next 5 years?
Yeah, I don't know if you're looking to me to answer that one or Stephen, but clearly the DeFi world, right, is out there. That is something, if you go all the way back to 2009, 2010, which, Stephen and I were both aware of what was going on back during that time. And as you mentioned, some of those things were being cleared up through 2013 and even into today, right? So I think there's going to be a lot of questions out there. We have a platform, and our position is that we want to put the customer interest first. We want to try and remove friction from the process of allowing them to be involved if they want to. We think that there is a large group of people out there that are crypto curious, that have indicated that they would like to come in, but they would feel more comfortable with a national bank who is highly regulated and doing those things. But at the same time, you've got this group of folks, the DeFi folks, and the blockchain, initially, it was designed to democratize things, to put the power in the hands of folks to be their own bank. So how we start to bring these worlds together in a way that protects people in a way that gives people choice. So sophisticated users can do it how they want to do it, but those that maybe are crypto curious and would prefer to go through it from a bank, we need to be able to have a ecosystem that embraces both.
Yeah, for sure. Stephen, okay, so you're on the technology front of this. This is a pretty big challenge when you look at just building an infrastructure, because this is not something you just turn on, which is what has been the traditional finance system for the last, 5 decades, and kind of that Band-Aid approach toward how money moves around, whether it's SWIFT or we're looking at more advanced transaction aspects like ACH, et cetera. This really is a whole new infrastructure. How challenging was that for you guys to really start plugging into the blockchain and beginning to really understand what this meant in terms of moving money?
Oh, it is very technically complex, and I think to Brad's point, there's a lot of the different technical components that for a lot of people are either not safe or they're too technically complicated. And part of what we're
Right.
trying to do is, make banking and make crypto surprisingly easy for our customers and being able to bring those services. The other pieces is there are a lot of the pieces that are not integrated in any way. There's a lot of limitations on the traditional banking system. So part of the move to SAP as our core was to give us more flexibility, more capability to be able to adapt and grow that core ourselves. So, having a solid technical foundation to be able to build from that was customizable and not locked in the way a lot of the other traditional bank cores are, where people are really limited, including us previously. So that gave us a foundation, then to start adding those features. There's a lot of additional features that we're doing that we're going to be adding to the platform, and we knew that we needed to have a new technical foundation to build from. So there was a lot of this that was, a very stable build platform, but we had to have the level of flexibility for us to be able to customize it to be able to support this type of initiative.
I'm kind of curious, this one also for you, Stephen, is if you look at your website real quick, I was just jumping over to Vast Bank and got into your crypto banking screens here to just kind of take a look. So you've got, of course, a full exchange there on buying and selling digital currencies 24/7, so much like a Coinbase kind of scenario. No transfer delays, interest-bearing checking, you're doing a 1% trading fee, which I thought all of those features are very competitive in the ecosystem. Are there things that you guys are looking to in terms of partnerships with some of these big exchanges, or how are you guys putting together such a comprehensive array of services here? Because this seems like this is right up Coinbase's alley.
Yeah, we actually want to provide a very robust, full feature set of banking capabilities. So in addition to crypto capabilities, we want to be able to bridge those worlds and bring them both together in one experience. But we have an institutional grade partnership with Coinbase that allows us to do all of those real-time trading directly with Coinbase to be able to offer those integrated services. We're going to be adding cold vault storage and deposit and withdrawal of crypto, and a lot of other features that we have in our roadmap. Our goal is to try to bridge those two gaps and make it fully integrated. So, if you look at a lot of the features, a lot of the reason that people struggle with crypto in the early adopter space is because you still have to be able to convert your regular money, your traditional money into crypto. It's a long process of moving funds around. So part of it is being able to have a bank account that has that natively integrated to where it's instant sell, instant purchase, and it just settles directly in and out of your checking account automatically.
Okay, so we've seen some expansion with online banks like Ally and others that are kind of moving in this direction. If someone were interested in opening a Vast bank account, could they do it from another state like an Ally, or are you guys, how is that set up with you guys in terms of online banking?
Yeah, so we are a national bank, and that's one of the advantages is we are 50 states, all territories, and we have customers in all 50 states, crypto customers as well, that are doing those things. So we're excited about the scope of it. They can go to the App Store or Google Play, download Vast crypto banking. And basically within 5 minutes, you can open an account, and once your funds are good, if you wire in funds, or the ACH has a few hold period on it. But once you have good funds, you can do exactly what you just described directly from your mobile app in a self-service manner.
So Brad, to continue on that topic with all these services that you guys are offering around this, if you look at the DeFi space, and also to some extent some of the exchanges out there, and also some of the yield programs that are being offered, whether it's a Voyager, a Celsius, or some of those. Are you guys looking at doing anything in that space of being able to offer these higher bearing yield accounts for like a USDC, or maybe even other types of crypto coins themselves?
Yeah, certainly we are reviewing those things. So again, I do want to go back and just emphasize that we're going to do things in a regulatory appropriate manner. Obviously, with the headlines over the last few weeks, some of those programs have, at least there's questions that the SEC has brought up and others have brought up about how that does that. We think that there is an opportunity there for a national bank to be able to provide custody services and earnings on those in a regulatorily appropriate manner. So certainly we plan on doing those things. We're investigating it today. But when we announce that, if we announce that, it's going to be transparent with the regulators, and people can be confident that we're right in the center of what we're supposed to be doing.
Brad, how does I open up, I'm kind of walking through this because this is the traditional question mark that you get with a lot of newbies in cryptocurrency. They open up a Coinbase account. Maybe they understand there's not necessarily an FDIC type approach toward that, where you've got $250,000 secured like a typical banking account would be. How are you guys addressing this? If I open up an account with Vast and I put in $100,000 in fiat, I convert that over to Bitcoin immediately. Am I secured through Vast, or am I kind of exposed there? What would be my scenario?
Yeah, so we have Stephen mentioned earlier, we have an institutional relationship with Coinbase, okay? Coinbase does have insurance policies associated with that side of it. So I want to emphasize it's not FDIC, you're correct. The fiat side would be FDIC insured, as you said. And then on the crypto side, we do have insurance through that institutional relationship with Coinbase.
Gotcha. Okay. Stephen, all right, let's talk about transfers, because you're doing things like debit card access to this, to where I use a debit card. That's going to be moving money under the traditional, I'm assuming the traditional mechanisms that banks use today. Are you looking at utilizing into these underlying layer one technologies and blockchain, systems? Whether you look at something like XRP, obviously XRP is facing down the SEC right now, but they're doing a lot of bank deals outside the United States. If that comes to clean up, hopefully we see it one time, XRP could have a really big play here in the U.S. banking system. How would you guys address something like that in terms of infrastructure?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question. And what we're looking to do is to bridge the gap bridge the networks, right? So the fiat transactions and the crypto transactions, and bring those together. Our intent is to provide a full stack of crypto services. So, the payment integration or the payment network integration on the crypto side is definitely something we're looking to do as well. And as Brad said, I think what we're wanting to make sure is the path that we choose to go down, that we're working directly with the Office of the Innovation at our regulatory body to make sure that everything we're doing is in alignment with them. But I can tell you that we are actively working on those things. We just want to make sure that everything we do is in coordination with our regulators, and to make it safe and secure for our clients.
Stephen, you had a quote in a Forbes article, and it was basically referencing the traditional banking system today. And it says, these firms will struggle for relevance as global digital platforms, fintech companies, other non-trads players gain greater market share using tech and so on. You guys, though, kind of count yourself out of that. You're not going to struggle, or at least that's the case here. Why do you think some
Right.
banks are pushing back from that?
I think what we're seeing is less that they're pushing back from it and more that they are limited by their technology choices that they
Mm,
have. So a lot of banks, leverage the technology that's provided to them by their providers. And what we've done is when we're seeing these new innovations in the technology space, in the banking and the financial services industry, they're happening outside the traditional providers. And so what we're looking to do in this process is create an innovative technical platform where we're investing to add those new services and to integrate them natively. As an example, instead of doing crypto as a bolt-on service that's external to the existing system, we actually have it live integrated. So when we do a transaction, that transaction for your fiat money is stored directly in SAP in a banking account that's a checking account. When you do a
mhm.
crypto transaction, we're actually storing that in SAP in a checking account, but the currency for that is Bitcoin, and it's
Right.
that native currency support. We've extended SAP to natively support cryptocurrency directly in the core, and that's just something that's the traditional technologies for our industry are limited in the ability to be able to support that type of a model.
Now, Stephen, you would be
Paul,
somewhat. Go ahead, Brad. Jump in there.
well, I was just going to add one point there, and I think this aligns with what Stephen was saying. We believe we're also the first bank in the U.S. to be open banking system compatible, right?
Hmm.
And Stephen and his team extended and submitted some of the crypto pieces for open banking. In addition, our platform, we are what's called PSD2 compatible. So those think about Google and Facebook and being able to utilize your credentials, right? We are about removing friction from the customer process. In Europe, you can change accounts between financial institutions, which is extremely customer friendly,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
It helps to drive down costs, give them choice. We want to compete based upon customer experience, not based upon artificial barriers. So we're ready for those things. The White House, the Treasury Department has put out white papers on this piece. But again, this kind of goes right along with some of the DeFi comments with our technology platform,
Hmm.
with the mindset of our organization. We're trying to keep everything about the customer. We want to compete on experience, and that means customer choice.
Yeah. Well, I think
And
that is a great mindset because not all banks have that mindset. So you guys are way out in front in terms of where I think the evolution of the modern day bank is going to be going for sure. That's going to be a big one. Back to this Forbes article, and this I think was from you, Brad. Basically, you were kind of commenting on 60% of people that are interested. You kind of mentioned the term there, crypto curious, that has kind of come into this space. You guys are in Oklahoma, so obviously your ecosystem is somewhat based there, but you have national customers all over the place. Are you seeing specific areas of the country that have shown more, propensity to say, "Hey, let's jump in. I want to find a bank, or I'm looking for those real forward-thinking banks that are going to be going into this space?" Because I think you mentioned Wyoming. Did you say you were connected to a
Uh,
Wyoming bank or no?
Yeah, so our sister bank, the family owns the
Ah,
Bank of Jackson Hole, which is in Wyoming, okay,
all right. So they're
located there.
very
So
pro
our
crypto.
top five, yeah, yeah. So we've got the top five, and we've got a real-time reporting system that we could pull up and show you. But I believe when I looked at it, California, Oklahoma, Texas, California, and Florida are the top five. I think Georgia
Interesting.
was number six in
Wow.
terms of the states. And there are certainly areas within each of those states and population centers where we're seeing, but we're 4 weeks into a direct relaunch with
Hmm.
this, and our marketing teams are continuing to evaluate the data and look at those pieces. But we're really pleased with the uptake and with the breadth of people across the United States that are very interested in this topic.
I like the approach, because we of course here on the channel we talk to CEOs and executives throughout DeFi, throughout the crypto and the project space. We get into the blockchain quite a bit, and the innovation that we're seeing is pretty dynamic, just the amount of innovation that's coming at us. Stephen, this has to be like one of the hardest things for you, because it's like a big floodgate that's coming at the industry, and this is like a tidal wave. How are you keeping up with all of that kind of technology innovation?
Well, it helps to have a great team supporting us. We also have very strong partnerships. So we have our partnership with both SAP and some of our consulting partners like EPAM, really help us stay up to speed on those. I think all of our leadership team, and I will make a quick comment that I think one of the reasons that we're as far out as we are is we have a culture of, being prepared and being passionate about what we do. And a lot of this is, the reason we got involved early is our executive team really has us, looking forward and trying to be ahead of the curve. Some of this is coming really fast, and we have to be really judicious about where we put our investments in those technology pieces. But I know that we have a very passionate team all the way, not only in our leadership team, but even all through our ownership structure, are very passionate about this space.
Well, kudos to you guys. Excellent work. I think as we see more and more traditional banks, this is going to be a conversation we'll continue to have, especially as the evolution of the services start to shift and consumers start to kind of demand a new focus of how banks are going to work. So great to have both of you on today from Vast Bank. We'll definitely put a link in the show notes for people to jump over and check this out for sure. But thanks for stopping in.
Thank you so much for having us.
You bet. All right, guys. All right, you're listening in maybe over on the podcast right now. The number one place, of course, if you're over on Spotify or iTunes, give us some likes over there. But you got to jump over here to the YouTube channel and, of course, like and subscribe. It's the number one way you're going to get notifications of great content that is really tuning into the technology forefront that is happening in our society. Obviously, blockchain kind of leads the way. Don't forget, we have some big news coming, and it's going to be October 7th. Is the launch of, and you guys have been asking about this, of the Diamond Circle. We're going to be getting it moving to where you'll be able to jump in as a member. There's going to be some really cool tools and some amazing benefits to you as a member. So make sure and stay tuned here on TechPath for that. If you have an idea for the show, just drop it in the comments below, or you can hit me up on Twitter @Paul Barron. We'll catch you next time right here on TechPath.